All right, here we go. This is the grand finale of information prior to the 2-1 to 2-3 quiz. So we're going to tackle the second day of this, and some of your teachers might have done this all at once. So that's fine. We'll just go with it. So here, I did talk about this a little bit day one, and I want to note that back here in the day one notes, these are actually, they're backwards. So if you're going to be using your notes for the quiz, I don't want you using those. That's what I was pausing about yesterday when I stopped in the video. These are right, but memorizing that is pretty tricky. So I would just challenge you to kind of figure out how to set up the little zero table and then make your life easier. So for example here, I know a lot of you are tempted to change it to slope-intercept form, but there's a lot of steps to that where you could make a mistake. And so I would recommend that instead you try this. Try it a few times because it's actually pretty easy. So I'm going to put a 0 here to figure out the y-intercept and a 0 here to figure out the x-intercept. And then I take the equation, and so for example here, if I put a 0 in for x, which is what I'm doing, that would go away. And then all I have to do to solve the remaining problem is divide by -3. So 0, 2 is going to be a y-intercept. So 0, 2 is the first point that I graph. Then if I want to figure out the x-intercept, I'm going to put a 0 in for y. This part is now nothing because it's multiplied by 0. So all I'm left with is 2 times what equals 6. So you already know that that's going to be a 3. So then if I go 1, 2, 3 on the x and 0 up or down, I get my x-intercept. So then I just connect them. Oops, I'm sorry. 6 divided by 3 up here should have been a -2. So math is hard for me. So I'm going to go to -2. I forgot about the negative sign. So then all you need to make a line is 2 points that are accurate. So if you've done your due diligence, unlike me, and done your math right, you'll be good to go. So let's practice that again before you just decide that it's too hard for you, because it's not. Plugging in 0 is one of the easiest things out there. So let's plug in 0 for x. Put a 0 here. That eliminates the x part. I just divide by 5 to get a y value of 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3, for real is positive this time, is my y-intercept. Then let's do this. Let's go ahead and put a 0 in for y. That's going to cancel that out. And I'm just solving -3x equals 15 by dividing by -3. So my number answers -5. So then I plot this point, which goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the negative direction, and then does not go up or down. So then my line is just going to connect those two intercepts. So graphing the two intercepts, meaning where it crosses the x and the y axis, and then connecting them is an easier way, in my opinion, to graph those rather than changing it into the other form and then trying to go from there. Okay, so this one is a little tricky because it's not really in standard form yet, because it's supposed to be something x plus or minus something y and then only have a number on the right. So here, the 9y has to move over to this side before I can graph it. So I'm going to have my 3x. I just moved a 9y over by subtraction, and that leaves just the number on the right. Then I can make my little table because it's standard form. I can put a 0 in for x, then a 0 in for y. So if I put a 0 in for x, that would make the x part 0, leaving me with just -9y equals 18. And if I divide by -9 to solve that, I get -2. So 0, -2 is my y-intercept. If I plug for the second one a 0 in for y, then the -9y goes away because it became literally nothing. And what I would have left is 3x equals 18. So when I divide by 3, I get a big fat 6. So that's going to be over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, I do love when it goes off the graph. And then I just connect my 2 points. 2 points is all it takes to draw a line. So Plugging in 0 is pretty easy. That's my favorite way to do those. So I don't know. These are always, kids struggle with horizontal and vertical, and I don't get it. They're actually the easiest ones. So I think it's because we don't do them very often. They're sort of the exception to the rule. One thing I always tell kids is whatever axes the line crosses, those are the letters you'll see in the equation. So like this crosses both x and y, there's an x and y in the equation. This crosses x and y, there's an x and y in the equation. Same here, crosses x, crosses y, I've got both in my equation. When you have a line like x equals 3, you only see an x, so it's only going to cross x. So I always think this letter is the axis that it's going to cross, and this number is telling you where. So if it's only going to cross the x at 1, 2, 3, because this is the x-axis, and it's never going to cross the y, that's going to create a vertical line. So it's just an exception to the rule. You don't have slope to count up and over because if you remember, the slope for a vertical line is undefined. And no people, no matter how smart they are, can count undefined because it's undefined. How about y equals -2? I don't see an x and y, so it's not going to be a slanty line and cross through them both. I only see y, so it's only going to cross y. That's this guy. And it's going to cross it at -2. So if you have a line that's crossing y at -2 and never ever crossing x, that's going to be a horizontal line. And again, I don't do any math or solving or moving or intercepts. I don't do any of that. And here my slope is just 0. So a horizontal line is going to have only y in it because it only crosses the y. A vertical line is only going to cross x and only have x in the equation. So just kind of do whatever it takes to kind of make sense of that or memorize it, whatever works best for you. Because these two are easier. You don't have to count slope. You don't have to do any math, but you just have to remember which one's which. So, okay, the body length in inches of a walrus calf can be modeled by this equation. Who knew? X is the calf's age in months. Okay, so let's fill in this little chart. And so I'm going to start with 0 because you cannot be less than 0 months old. And if you plugged a 0 in here for the age, 5 times nothing is nothing plus 42. Well, that makes sense to me because this is supposed to be the y-intercept. So that's supposed to be your initial value at 0. Now, what if I plugged in a 1? 5 times 1 plus 42 is going to put me at 47 after I plug in a 1, after 1 month. But here's the reality, you guys. Your slope is 5. So this increases. It goes up by 5 for each 1 year. So it's up 5, per month, not year. So if I'm tracking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months and so on, I'm just going to be going up 5 each time. So up 5 from 47, up 5 from that, up 5 from there. Oops, that's a big jump because adding is hard. Up 5 from there, and so on. So I'm going, because that's my slope, my rate of change, up 5 per 1 month. So every month I go over, I go up 5 in length. Graph the equation. Okay, well that sounds dreadful. So the x is going to be age in months. Sorry, am I making you sick? So this is age in months. And I have to get to 8. So probably just count every one. So this will be 0, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm good with that. So those are going to be age in months. And I only have data till 8. But then looking at my numbers, I have to go to at least 82. So up the side, I'll probably count by 10. So this is going to be the length in inches, and I'm going to go by tens because I'm going to run out of space if I count by ones. So this is going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And I'll probably go to 90 because my last number goes just a smidge past 80. So let's plot some points. I'm starting at 0, 42. So 10, 20, 30, 42. Then at 1, I'm going up 10, 20, 30, 47. So I still haven't hit the 50 line. Then at 2, I'm going to go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 52, just above the 50 line. And then I'm going to go at 3 up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 57. Then also you can kind of go to where you're going to end. 8 should go up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 82. So I don't have to necessarily plot every single dot, but if I did, they're going to kind of go like that. Now, is it going to go up forever? Do they never stop growing? No, but the data that I have goes to that point. So it's going up 5 inches for every month over. So describe what they mean or represent. Okay, well, the y-intercept is 0.42. So this is months and this is length. So that basically means that they're 42 inches at 0 months, so at birth. That's a pretty long baby. Then it wants to know about the slope. Keep in mind that slope is always measured in y per x. So for me, y is inches and x is months. So for me, it's a growth rate, because slope is always a rate, of 5 inches per month. So that's how you find the units, is y, which was inches, over x, which was months. So that, my friends, is what you need to know up through the first quiz. So 2-1, 2-2, and then both days of 2-3, you need to be an expert on. So watch the videos every day, all day, and then you'll be an expert. Bye.